I want to thank those members who have voluntarily and disinterestedly made their donations, thanks to which women like me have come to this wonderful and extraordinary ministry, guided by God, to find hope, to strengthen the faith, and to know that we are not here meant to see God's truth about marriage and to ignore what the world tells us. Thanks to your contribution, I imagine that I was able to do this course for free. Thank God that this site exists. I wish with all my heart that more and more women benefit from it, just as I did. For my part, I will continue to spread it as far as possible. I know that my Lord will like that. I reiterate my thanks to all the members for their support. Thanks to the fact that God sent me these materials through a friend on WhatsApp, it is that today I'm on this restoration journey, overcoming my habit of procrastination, my apathy and disinterest. Today, by the grace of God, I am concluding this course that throughout a year has kept me standing for the fight of my restoration, which went from being a desperate cry for the restoration of my family to a request to be restored first in my personal life and some other aspects of my life. And this has only been possible thanks to trying to follow the principles of Erin's book, How God Can and Will Restore Your Marriage. Through this book, God communicated with me repeatedly. It has been a reading of great blessing because all its content is based on truths, principles, and verses of the Bible. So with my hand on my heart, I recommend it to all those women who are currently going through a crisis in their marriages and to whom no one read it because it will be a valuable prevention tool, I'm sure. I know that my Lord, my God, my heavenly husband, my everything will be pleased that I recommend it for being an instrument through which I could teach myself to believe in His truth and assimilate that it is only Him who I should look for at all times, in every circumstance and situation in my life. Undoubtedly, reading the testimonials before reading each chapter of the book strengthened me in many cases, since I felt identified with those testimonies, knowing that I am not the only woman who thinks about restoring her marriage, to despite the fact that the world tells me that there is no hope, that my marriage is over, that I do not see my former husband in my future. That undoubtedly strengthened me and encouraged me when I felt alone and without hope. I had to read testimonies in which the circumstances for the restoration were very adverse, due to all the damage and destruction that the couples had caused each other, which is very similar to my situation. But I could see that for God there are no impossibilities, and there are testimonies of restored marriages, which arose from the married death, from the ashes, without a doubt that God is faithful to His word and to His promises. All is not lost when we turn to the best lawyer, to greatest psychologist and admirable adviser, God. It is He who is in control of things. Nothing that we can do will change their designs. We must let it act at all times. Like every contentious, proud and arrogant woman, Pharisee and far from God, when my friend on WhatsApp shared with me a link that led me to the first chapter of the audiobook, How God Can and Will Restore Her Marriage, I ignored him. It was not until several months later, when my marriage was already in ruins, I had to travel abroad, fleeing from depression and discouragement, and in search of work to pay the dozens of debts that I had contracted due to my shopping addiction and my messy way of handling money. It was when I was away from my family, parents, brothers, nephews, friends, and especially my son and my earthly husband in a strange country. I looked for the link of my friend and listened to it. I know that it was God who guided me to do it. From there, I decided to believe God, even though my circumstances were the worst, the most devastating. Because I had already signed an uncased divorce. My earthly husband hated me, He didn't want to know anything about me. My son was angry with me, and my earthly husband expressed and continues to do so that marrying me was a mistake, that the only good thing about our marriage had been our son, and also close friendship with other women. However, I decided to believe God, obey Him, and try to follow His principles. It has not been easy. I have fallen. I have failed. I have been disobedient to God at times. However, I know that the only way is His truth, and I do not see myself with another man in another relationship, because I know that for God that is not in His plans for me, nor in His truth. Today I'm still here fighting, renewed, believing that my life and my restoration are in His hands. So I have the assurance that everything is controlled. God is fighting this battle for me. And so I will continue to believe, because God has shown me that His plans for me are for good and prosperity. I know that in the future, when the times of my Lord God so determine, I will be sharing a testimony of marriage restoration for the glory, and also a testimony of restoration of a life, of my whole life. So be it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my God, for having guided me to this ministry. Thank you for being patient with me, for putting up with my doubts, my insecurities, and for not giving up on me. Because today, thanks to you, I'm concluding this course. I will continue to feed on your word, of your truth, to be able to help you, my Lord, so that more and more women are looking for you, that there are fewer and fewer families and marriages that the enemy destroys. Because if women and men know your truth, they will be more sensitive to your plans and projects. May you be my Lord, who reigns forever in our lives. Infinite thanks for your fidelity, my Lord, for your love, for your mercy, for your guidance. Thank you for my trials, for everything I had to go through the desert in my life, through that valley of dry bones, and had to go through because thanks to that, I was able to know you and look for you as you want me to, with sincerity, without interest or conditions, and give you my life, my projects, my dreams, my most expensive wishes. I would not change everything that I had to go through. Otherwise, I would remain in darkness. Thank you, my Lord, for not giving up, for looking for me and looking for me, until finally I listened to you. My life is in your hands, Lord, and I am at your disposal, so that what you need, my life. I love you more than ever, more than everything, more than always.
Be sure to give us a like if you have enjoyed listening to this testimony of praise. Subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will receive updates whenever we post new videos. If you would also like to do our course 1, be sure to fill in the free marriage evaluation form. We will leave the link in the description.